Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Coach Craig's Sports. This is the Thursday episode, so this is going to be the single game, the Showdown Slate for the Thursday night football game between the Washington football team and the New York Giants. So once again, I'm going to be going through kind of my player pool for this game, some core captain picks, and then building a quick little lineup on Draftkings and Fanduel as well. So first off, we're going to start off with the player pool. This is not a super attractive game. It's not a game slate that I'm going to be playing too heavily or anything like that. It'd probably be one that I skip out altogether most weeks just because there's not a ton of value out there in general, and then it's a low-scoring game. Two kind of hard to predict teams at this point in time. It's just not the type of game you want to attack too heavily, so I'll be playing the free contest, maybe a couple cheap 10 cent, 25 cent, 20 maxes. But that's probably about it for this week. But on the DraftKings side, the guys that I'm looking at for this game, obviously both quarterbacks are in play between Daniel Jones, Taylor Heineke. They kind of don't have the best upside either, playing against two pretty good defenses, but they both do offer some rushing upside. Taylor Heineke would be my favorite. Saquon Barkley and Antonio Gibson, the two running backs, they are both in play. They both kind of could be limited in this game. Saquon Barkley working his way back from the ACL injury, was limited week 1. And then Antonio Gibson, he's got that shoulder injury, so if something does hit him, if somebody does hit him pretty hard, he could get knocked out of the game pretty easily too. He's a guy that I expect to be super, super chalky. So personally, he's a guy that I am fading. Then we got Terry McLaurin. He's pretty safe. We know what Terry McLaurin is going to be, but Taylor Heineke is playing at quarterback, so we'll see how that affects him. Sterling Shepard coming off a big week 1. Could be a good play. He's probably going to be another very chalky option. And then Logan Thomas should be a pretty solid option. He should be pretty chalky, but I don't expect him getting a ton of captain ownership, more of a flex play guy. And then we got Darius Slayton here. He's definitely in play. Some high upside big play guy. If you're in a GPP, somebody you should definitely take a look at. Washington DST obviously is very good, so they're in play. You could even try them in the captain spot if you need to. Adam Humphries, pretty lackluster week 1, but the change at quarterback could affect that. We'll see how he looks in week 2. He should be out there a good amount of snaps, so he's somebody that's definitely in play for $4,800. Giants defense, I do like it, that $4,200 price tag. There is options where you could play a defense and a kicker, 2 defenses, 2 kickers. In a low-scoring game like this, that is definitely a viability. I can't rule that completely out. Most slates on a single-game slate, you don't try to do that, but on these games like this, there's a lot of things in play. Like I said, both kickers are in play at this time, especially with the low-scoring game. Could lead to some more field goal opportunities. Kyle Rudolph at $3,200, $4,800 captain price. He's definitely somebody that's interesting with Evan Ingram out once again. Then we had J.D. McKissick, kind of lackluster week 1, pretty fairly priced at $2,200 though. Diami Brown is somebody that I expect to be super, super, super chalky on both sides. He is one of the cheaper plays, and he played 93% snaps week 1, only had 1 catch for -2 yards, so it's not like he did a whole bunch with it. We'll have to see what he does tonight. He's not somebody that I'm attacking, and since he's going to be super chalky, or he's projected to be super chalky, he's not a guy that I'm not going to have in a lot of my lineups. If I'm playing a 20 max, he's probably going to be in about 4 or 5 of them, which is probably going to be underweight to the field. I expect the field probably to be closer to 40% in terms of flex play for Diami Brown tonight. Jared Patterson is somebody I do like, only saw 7% of snaps week 1. But if something happens to Antonio Gibson in this game, Jared Patterson could be the primary beneficiary. So if you're playing with an optimizer, you might want to set your rules that you don't put Antonio Gibson and Jared Patterson in the same lineup together. It's one or the other. Last but not least, we got Caden Smith, another backup tight end for the New York Giants. He's a guy that I like a ton as a player, as a prospect coming out initially. We saw a little bit of him when Evan Ingram was out, Daniel Jones' rookie year, but hasn't seen quite much since then. Kyle Rudolph does limit his ceiling, but $200 price tag, if he does anything, he could be worth it. For the core captain players on DraftKings, Taylor Heineke's probably my favorite. I don't think he's going to be quite as chalky in that captain spot. Offers a little bit of rushing upside, probably a little bit more than people actually realize. Antonio Gibson's there. I expect him to be the chalkiest option, so he's probably a guy that I'm fading. Terry McLaurin definitely could be in the mix. Not somebody I'm I'm probably going to be in line with the field. Logan Thomas, I want to be a little bit overweight to the field. Sterling Shepard, probably a little bit underweight to the field. There is a case that could be made that you could play Saquon Barkley in the captain spot. I don't think he's going to be very chalky there at all. So it's Saquon Barkley. If he does anything, he's definitely in play. Both defenses as well. You know, if you want to go contrarian route, Giants defense could be an interesting captain play. And it's important to note, like, especially on DraftKings for this game too, sometimes you're trying to save salary, but I think in this case, this game, you don't really have to like go super salary saving in the captain spot for any reason. Then on the Fanduel side, both quarterbacks are in play once again. I think they're fairly priced for what they are in this game. Saquon Barkley is definitely in play, kind of like I already mentioned on the DraftKings side. He could be a good contrarian play as well. Antonio Gibson's definitely in play, fairly priced, very fairly priced on the Fanduel side. But, you know, I expect him to be chalky once again, so he's kind of a little bit of a fade for me. I'm going to come in underweight to the field. Terry McLaurin, maybe a little bit more pricey than I want to pay on this slate. Same thing with Sterling Shepard, so maybe I'm a little bit lower on those guys. Kenny Galladay, I don't mind as much on FanDuel with his price tag. Logan Thomas, very, very fairly priced over there as well, so I think he's going to be in a lot of lineups. Dustin Hopkins and Graham Gano both in play at the kickers. Darius Slayton, same thing as we said on the DraftKings side. Then Adam Humphries, Diami Brown, Kyle Rudolph, they're kind of the cheaper plays on this slate. I expect Diami Brown to be the chalk play. And so if you're trying to look at getting away from Diami Brown, maybe you go to Adam Humphries in this case because they're both wide receivers on the same team, both pretty fairly priced in general. In terms of core captain picks for the FanDuel side, Logan Thomas is up there, Taylor Heineke. Antonio Gibson's there, but he's the one that I expect to be pretty chalky. You could also put Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones in the captain spot. You can make a case for some of these wide receivers too if you want to do that as well. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to DraftKings and make a quick little lineup. So I'm just going to go ahead and put Taylor Heineke in right away. I'm going to put Logan Thomas in as well because I think those two correlate very well together. Let's see. This is going to be a lineup that I'm not going to play Antonio Gibson, so I'm going to put Jared Patterson in there just because, like I said already, I don't want Gibson and Patterson in there together. I think Patterson, the main way he pays off, especially for that 400 price tag, he doesn't really have to do much. You got 0.9 points last week. For $400, if you get 5 points out of him, he's already worth it. So if Antonio Gibson comes out of this game for whatever reason and Jared Patterson's in there, that could help him out. This game could end up in a blowout. Seems unlikely. Jared Patterson could still pay off in that situation. And there's a couple other low ones as well. So maybe they're trying to limit Antonio Gibson and Patterson gets a couple more carries as well. So I think he's definitely a viable option on this slate. Then it looks like we got about $9,000 left over. I am going to put in Saquon Barkley here just because I think he's not going to be as chalky as people think. I think a lot of people are fading him just in general because of him being limited week one. I think he'll get more snaps than he did week one. Still won't be a full workload, but it's Saquon Barkley. He could still pay off even if this is a tough Washington defense. Like I mentioned before, I do like Adam Humphries, so I'm going to put him in. And you could put Daniel Jones in this case too. So this is a lineup if you want to play both quarterbacks. Then you have Logan Thomas, Jared Patterson, Saquon Barkley, Adam Humphries. Obviously, you could take one of these guys out and play a little bit better option as well. So maybe if you weren't in on Daniel Jones, you could even go back. I know I said Antonio Gibson with Patterson there doesn't make much sense, but we'll just do this for an example. And then we're going to go down to the defenses. If we're making this maybe a little bit more chalky line, you could put Diami Brown in. So this probably be a little bit more chalky of a line in general. Maybe Washington defense, Antonio Gibson, Diami Brown, Logan Thomas, Taylor Heineke, then Saquon Barkley in there. Saquon Barkley would be what makes your lineup a little bit more unique in general. So that's definitely an option. The one that I did have in before there is definitely an option as well. You don't have to be too cute with salaries today. As you see, putting Taylor Heineke in the captain spot, there's still money left over. You can still be creative and just figure out what really works for you in this game. As always, with the single game slate, you really just want to tell a narrative of what you think is going to happen in this game, but do not be afraid to leave money on the table, because there is a lot of options out there and you don't have to spend up for every single one. We'll get moved over to FanDuel, though. So on Fanduel, we're going to go with Taylor Heineke once again, just in the MVP spot. Like I said, there's a couple different people you can play there. It really doesn't matter which ones you pick. We're going to put Saquon Barkley in as well. We're going to go down to Logan Thomas. So even if you play these three guys here, you still have over $10,000 left over. So as you see on FanDuel even, there is options. So you could play an Antonio Gibson, and you still have $9,000 left over. So you could play Sterling Shepard. You could play one of the kicker. You could play Graham Gano. We'll just put Gano in for now. But that's an option. There's just a lot of different possibilities on this slate. I could go through and build, probably 20 different lineups. But for the sake of time, for the sake of you watching this video, you probably don't want to see me build 20 different lineups. So, I'm handing the reins off to you guys. If you have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to ask. Definitely here to help you guys out the best that I can. But with that being said, that's pretty much all I have for today's video. Once again, quick little rundown on the Showdown Slate for the Thursday night football game between the New York Giants and the Washington football team. But with that being said, if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. Definitely would appreciate it. It helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, and that's one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your fantasy football teams, helping you with DFS, whether it's NBA or NFL, talking all the NFL news, talking some NFL draft prospects as we get closer to the 2022 NFL draft. And with that being said, if you're a new or current subscriber, hit the notification bell down below. It's going to let you know every single time I post up a new video. And tomorrow's Friday, so that will be the Dollar Store Stack series for DFS. Definitely want to check that one out if you guys are playing DFS this weekend. And if you're watching this video, there's probably a good chance that you're also playing DFS this weekend. But with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. Hopefully you guys are wise with your money tonight. Hopefully you do very well in this single game DFS slate for the Thursday night football game. I wish you the best of luck. And once again, if you have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to ask. Definitely here to help you guys out the best that I can. And then last but not least, special little shout out to each and every one of you watching today's video. I truly do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video. It definitely means a lot to me, and I hope each and every one of you has a great rest of your day.